So, thanks for coming to WWJC. I'm really happy to be here to do another presentation. 2 years ago, it was a blast. I hope it will be too here. I'll do my best. So, what are the objectives of my presentation? I wanted to tell the story behind jailbreaking because it's a long story and people usually don't know it. And Britta also told me to give a presentation that's not too technical because probably that's the one 2 years ago was too technical and people couldn't follow it. So, and something that could inspire a new generation of jailbreakers because we are only a few here and maybe people will join us to make more jailbreak happen, and of course something that everyone can understand. So who am I? So my name is Cyril Cattiaux. I'm quite old. And I've been hired as a security researcher recently in a French company that's called Quarks Lab. And I'm also a core member of the Evaders jailbreak team. So the whole story started when I was 6 years old. I won't tell the whole story of my life, okay? But my father gave me a ZX81, and just so that I play with it. And what is wrong with these computers, these old computers, that you can do anything if you don't program them. So I had to program them. I couldn't read or write, so I had to just copy a book of programming stuff of my father and make this happen. So this is where it started. I'm in the iPhone jailbreak scene since 2009. And I've been involved in 9 public jailbreaks, or boot exploits, because talking of them is boot exploits will jailbreak multiple versions of iOS. So this is not really a public jailbreak by itself, but more than that. So here's my visibility on Twitter that keeps growing, and I'm really proud of it. And I just wanted to thank you all for that. That's it. Thank you, guys. So here are some statistics of the Evasion 7 release. As you can see, the big peak happening at the end of December. 1.2 million unique visitors. So yeah, really proud of it too. And Evaders and I also contributed to multiple improvements in the security of the operating system somehow. So, so here is the full list of CVE that we're credited on to. It's only like 30% of the vulnerabilities that we used in the 4 last jailbreaks. But still, that's still good. That's still good to be credited. Thank you, Apple. So this is. I hope it will just give somebody the wish to start. Here is how I get started. So I got an iPod2g for Christmas and got really frustrated by what you could do with it at that time. And the small amount of applications that were on the App Store, and they were really limited. So, and I wasn't. It couldn't start all the jailbreak stuff that people wrote for other iOS devices, like emulators and all the tweaks and all. So I got frustrated somehow and started to read. Chronix is one guy. That posted a lot of his reversing on Google Code, explaining the differences between the iPhone 3G boot ROM and the iPod 2G. And and he came really thoroughly to every subtle differences in the boot process and in the boot ROM. So I followed everything, started to understand all the stuff happens in an iOS device at boot, and then after that he came on the iPhone wiki saying that he had found some kind of vulnerability because one particular command was not like authenticated like the other commands of the iBoot. This particular command is arm7go. It was like some developing command that iPhone let in the iBoot that would just start a payload with the second processor of the pod2g, the ARM7 processor. And this command would allow to execute code without any authentication. So he couldn't make it work somehow. So I tried to play with it myself and found two consistent passes, two different crashing passes. And like when I did something, it didn't crash, and when I do the other things, it crashed. So I concluded that I got code execution somehow. I didn't know anything about the iPhone at that time, apart the reading that I did of the chronic posts. But okay, I tried to contact that guy. So I created an account, picked randomly pod2g as a nickname, and I had absolutely no knowledge of ARM nor exploitation, and it was in January 2009. I contacted Chronic. He was really friendly, and we started on IRC with a few other people working on this stuff. So I've been involved in, as I said, multiple eBoots exploit, boot ROM exploits, and multiple public jailbreaks. So here is the full list if you're interested in. And here is also another point I want to mention, because a lot of people get confused about that, is Cydia the jailbreak itself? And the question is no. Cydia is a package installer, is maintained by Cyril Cattiaux, this guy over there. And the jailbreak, like for example Evasion, will deploy Cydia and multiple kernel patches and OS modifications to make it and its ecosystem work. So Cydia and all the tweaking experience related to it rely on the jailbreak, in fact. And it relies on only a few people, only like 10 people, and I will come to, and I will describe all the people of the scene, but it's only like 10 people. And we can say like it's a reverse pyramid with only a few people in the bottom and hundreds of developers and millions of users. So another point I want to say before starting is that there is absolutely no comparison with Android. A lot of people tend to say on XDA developer forums and on iOS forums like, hackers on Android are far better than hackers on iOS. Come on, they could release a full root in like 2 days. So why the on iOS they But there's absolutely no comparison. I mean, rooting on Android is like one vulnerability. And nowadays, jailbreaking iOS is like 10 vulnerabilities. And the attack surface is really short on iOS, and it's full of bullshit on Android. So here is the comparison. So I will talk about the jailbreak actors and the people that made that happen in the past few years. Just saying that I will not talk of all the people, because there are some people that are around for some reason that will test stuff, that will do unlocks, that will have private vulnerabilities and exploits, but will not release them to the public somehow. Yes, I'm talking about you. Um, and I'm not talking also of bugs allowing downgrades and upgrades because it's unrelated to jailbreaking. So, when I started, there were like 2 teams, the iPhone dev team, with only, I've seen a list on the web saying like the iPhone dev team is like 20 people. In fact, no, there are like 4 people in the iPhone dev team. And here are the main members, so Planet Being, Muscle Nerd, C-Pitch, and Paite. And the Chronic dev team at that time was only a few members. So me, I just got started. Ius, C-Pitch, Chronic, pod2g Ninja, which is in the room today, and Wesbar. Chronic was the leader. He reversed a large portion of the boot ROM at that time and the iBoot and all. So our work was not possible without his. C-Pitch was our ARM expert and the best reverser when it came to mathematical stuff, checksums related stuff, and all the really huge and complicated functions that you can find on IDA and you cannot reverse by yourself. It was like, okay, that's a division, that's an integer division. Thank you, C-Pitch. And I learned from both of them because, as I said, I didn't know anything about ARM at that time. In a few weeks, and because I was like a crazy guy and I have like a lot of luck and all, I had multiple discoveries at that time. I jumped the pod2g boot ROM, and I had made the origin of this of the last untethered boot ROM exploit of the jailbreak history. So it was really cool to work with these guys on the reversing, and I learned a lot. I learned on IDA Pro, and I found a way to finally make the vulnerability that I saw on IDA for the boot ROM to transform it to a real exploit. I want to mention that at that time the iPhone dev team was our enemy. Yeah, this is true because they were very secret. You couldn't approach them, talk to guys. It was really kind of talking to Apple. In fact, this was our enemy. So we tried to beat them, to challenge them. So C-Pitch, because as I presented earlier, was in fact in both teams at the same time. He was in the iPhone dev team and the Connect dev team at the same time. He talked to Planet Being. Planet Being came with us, and this is how the magic happens. Planet Being is a really good reverser, is also a really good exploiter, and I learned a lot from him. So together we reversed the stack pointer address statically from the boot ROM in IDA Pro, and this is. I mean, this is really complicated stuff because you don't have any feedback from the boot ROM. You only have your static reversing in IDA Pro, and you have to conclude that at that particular time, when the vulnerability happens, the program counter and the stack pointer should be at this address, and it's like making an hypothesis that you cannot verify easily. So we wrote a payload with our assumptions, and we tried like hundreds of times different payloads, modify them till we have something significant. And pod2g Ninja was the guy testing all this stuff. So thanks to him for this work. Okay, so I'm explaining here that we wrote together this ARM payload with Planet Being, and I guess it's one of my best memories here. Such a such a good teamwork we had together with David and Joshua to make this happen. It was really, really cool. And all started to fail here after that. For some reason, this 24K vulnerability at the time make it like the jailbreaking experience really popular, and some guys wanted to have this popularity also. I'm talking here of NitroKey. NitroKey just, I don't know how it happened, had a leak of our exploit. I suppose it's someone from our team that leaked this to them. Someone in the chronic dev team, someone of the iPhone dev team. And it's the whole started to happen here. At the end of the year, there were 3 actors: the iPhone dev team, chronic dev team, and now a new one, Geohot, popping up from nowhere. It has been really rainy days for me, like 6 months of rainy days. Geohot came from nowhere with a brand new jailbroken iPhone 3GS. I was like every day looking at his blog to try to understand what he did. Seriously, how it happened. And in a few hours, in a few days, I understood and exploited myself. But I didn't have the awesome knowledge of that guy. I was really impressed by the way he gave a complete exploit in assembly. He wrote a complete exploit in assembly with this iBoot vulnerability in a few days and released a complete jailbreak, the one-button jailbreak for the first time. And this guy really impressed me when he arrived in the scene. And so I was so happy that I tried to write the Windows GUI for him. And for some reason, it issues another one. I was like, Geohot, okay. So, and at the end of the year, my mate was buried, and I found a new vulnerability in the iBoot, and the race started. And Geohot grabbed our vulnerability somehow, so I suppose it's a leak again that happened, and included it in its black rain. No credit to us. And at that time, I understood something. You should have to be secret and silent when it comes to vulnerabilities on jailbreaks. Here is the story of 2010. So a new guy appeared here. This is Comex. He's really a really impressive guy and really humble. I really like him. And I think the whole community like him. I mean, he's really cool. And the Chronic Dev team that changed his logo for the end of the year. And Geohot again, and me alone this time. So, yeah. Star is the first, Spirit, sorry, is the first jailbreak of Comex. It happened like one day like this, from nowhere again. Grant Paul helped him on the GUI part. It was, again, really impressive because the first userland and kernel-related jailbreak of iOS. All the past few jailbreaks were iBoot or bootrom related, and for the first time it was userland and kernel. So it changed. It did the hard way. We were looking for like one vulnerability to have a jailbreak, and he chained a few vulnerabilities to get a jailbreak in the userland part of the system. So really impressive and really new at that time. And 3 months later, he comes with a new one, and this one, Jailbreak Me. Everybody remembers it. It was the first one of this kind. You had just to slide and bam, and you were jailbroken from the internet, remotely, over the air. So impressive work. So at that time, as I said, the work of Comex was like the hard path, and we were still looking for the easiest path, which is the boot and bootrom related. So we we worked closely with POSIX Ninja, and we continued to reverse the boot ROM as much as we could. We continued to FUD the DFU mode of it. We did our best to find a new vulnerability of the same kind of 24K pwn. And we found something really, really strange, is that you could send an image and have it like overflow over the BSS, but you couldn't control you couldn't control the content of it. It would be only zeros overflowing the BSS. So a real difficult vulnerability to exploit. So we tried to look at ways to exploit it, and we gave up somehow after a few months of trying. We get back to our personal lives, and in August I fucked again the pod2g for some reason. I don't know. I wanted to play with it, and found two vulnerabilities in the boot ROM, and one led to reading the whole memory, the other to have the PC jump to a place that I would control. So it helped me understand more the boot ROM and all of it process. So I got with a new idea, a crazy idea, that would lead to exploiting shatter, the vulnerability that POSIX Ninja found. So I wrote the exploit of it in a few days. So still undisclosed somehow. I mean, somebody leaked it again. I don't know why. And what is really, really weird about it. What is really weird about it is that somebody.
Sorry, Cyril. He just wants to say goodbye. He's got to catch a flight.
He wants me to come say goodbye. So I wasn't going to interrupt, but say goodbye. Oh, goodbye, sir. See ya. See you. See you, buddy. Au revoir. So somebody just replaced POSIX Ninja. Somebody replaced pod2g in the whole source code of it to POSIX Ninja somehow. So that's really weird. It leaked it, modified the credits in it, and I suppose it's again someone in the chronic dev team or someone really close to me. So that's really, really crazy. So at that time, I decided to stop working with them. I couldn't do that anymore. So at that time, as you can see, there's a new actor coming. It's Stéphane Esser in 2011. So I started to try to work alone with no teams anymore. So I found a bug in the kernel and tried to exploit it by myself. Get some clues on it from a French security researcher, which is a friend of mine, which is Jean Sigvald. He gave me ideas on how to exploit it and helped me a little on that. So that was my first kernel exploitation, and I learned a lot from it. Joshua helped again on the kernel patches, but no chronic dev team anymore, no iPhone dev team anymore. The payload, the untethered payload, was integrated into Grid, Poison, and Red Snow, but I was like the man behind it. So this time I took control, and no more bullshit and leaks like in the past. So this year is the best. It is the year of Jailbreak Mystery. Wow, boom! It happened like in March, like, suddenly, like this. Another good jailbreak of comics. In March too, I met my girlfriend. So. And in the summer, when we are heading to our vacations in the south of France, I was working on that vulnerability I found earlier and could exploit it. So it happened in the car when we were heading to the sea. That was that's the story behind it. And in December, my first jailbreak alone, Corona, that was integrated again into the tools of the chronic dev team and the iPhone dev team. And just a little mention that it was the first time I did something in return-oriented programming. Sorry, so it's like programming with a stack and the program counter of the PC. It was so crazy. And yeah, if you can look at it, it's really interesting. So 2012, a new team is building here, and a little story with Sorik helping us to get around the sandbox. So back to teamwork. After 1 year of being alone, we worked together to get around the sandbox. That was a really complicated issue with my Corona stuff on A5 devices. So we did a really great job with Nikias and David, and at that time I like a new team. I felt a new team was coming, and I really enjoyed working with these guys. And in May, we released again in a few months after a new jailbreak, Absent 2. The same guys. I worked alone on the first part, on the userland part, and the same guys helped me to finish it and have a working jailbreak, a public jailbreak that we could release at Hack in the Box Amsterdam in 2012. For me, it's the best release that we did ever. The Evaders were born at the time, so I couldn't work a lot on jailbreaking stuff at the end of the year. So because I was again working on pod2g, working on my company, Evasion, the first Evasion is rather David and Nikia stuff. Like 80% of it is from them. I just helped. Sorry, I just helped on the communication on the web page, on the Twitter accounts. I helped them also find how to inject the stuff in a clean way, not using Apple stuff, because we had another vulnerability at that time that involved using Apple copyrighted stuff. So I thought it was a really bad idea to use it, and proposed another way. And this is how Evasion was born. So yeah, Evaders is 5 people indeed. It's Muscle Nerd, Pimskex, which is Nikias, Planet Being, which is David, me, and Shernix for all the design stuff. I'm also mentioning Phoenix Dev and POSIX Ninja because one of their vulnerabilities, each one of their vulnerabilities have been used in our jailbreaks. So we need to credit them because they worked with us somehow. And WinOCM and IH Snow are the 2013 actors somehow because they released POSIX Pawn at the end of the year, which is a jailbreak that you can apply on the 6.1. So just mentioning again that Evasion is 80% Planet Being and Pimskex. And at the end of the year, in 2013, we had a new release, Evasion 7. I wanted to talk about it because it has been really controversial somehow, because we wanted to make a business with China. For some reason, we made different mistakes in the way that we made the business and the technical part of the jailbreak, because we have obfuscated some parts of it. And so people saw that we were hiding something, like we were injecting malwares to people's phones, and in reality, nothing of that was true. We just wanted to make a partnership with a company so that we got some money from our work. Yeah, I want to say it. We can make money from our work. I mean, a lot of people here make money from the jailbreak, so why not us also? So. Thank you. I want to credit also POSIX Ninja, because it has not been mentioned, but the kernel vulnerability comes from him, comes from his work. He couldn't exploit it. He gave that vulnerability to us, and we exploited it. But it is his finding, so it needs to be credited about it. So, if you want to look into Evasion 7, the source code is not public yet, and probably will never be public, but you can reverse it, and that's a good challenge to reverse it, and so that you enter the jailbreak community. And finally, I want to talk about 7.1, because everyone expect me to come with a release of a jailbreak this time, but I'm sorry to say that it will not happen. Jailbreaking is just one of our hobbies. We had multiple hobbies, of course, like everyone in here. The whole controversy that happened with Evasion 7 broke our relationship somehow in the Evaders team. So what happened was kind of bad. And I just want to say that what happened is completely ironic, considering that all the people that installed Evasion 7 on their phones and hated us at the same time on Twitter. So. Oh, I also wanted to mention that there is an unfollow button on Twitter. You can unfollow us if you want. So you're free to do it. And today, really, I can feel that I'm proud again to be part of this Evader stuff. Thanks to iCarbons. Thank you. If you look behind, we have been around since multiple years now. We have done like 4 jailbreaks. And okay, we are human. We make mistakes. But this is so awesome. Seriously? I wanted to talk about some techniques related to evasion, but I suppose it's too much. So if you want to look at it, the presentation will be public. You will be able to download it, and it sums up all the techniques behind evasion and Evasion 7. Conclusion, how to start? I heard a question yesterday of one guy saying, I'm a good C developer. Can I be a jailbreaker also? Yes, you can, kind of, but you need to follow a long road to do that, as you can see in my presentation. First of all, you need to get the hacker perspective of things. You need to enter the head of the developer that wrote the code that you want to exploit. What could he did wrong? What are the sensible parts of this code? And to try to make the application crash. This is the first steps that you need to follow. And after that, of course, as you've seen in my presentation, you need to get the knowledge and the experience on how to transform these vulnerabilities into exploits. here are some books and resources for you people if you want to start. A good resource is, of course, the iPhone Wiki, Exploit DB, and Britta knows like a lot of more resources than me, so you can ask her. Any questions?
Any questions, guys? Oh, right down the back.
I just wanted to comment on how you mentioned that you were discouraged from doing your best and continuing on.
Yeah.
I don't see how that's possible when you've got like 100 people in this room that all came here for the JailbreakCon from different countries, you know? I think you'd want to do it for love, you know?
Okay.
We all appreciate it, and it's, you know, don't let the haters, you know, get you down.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions, guys?
Hey, it's not a question, it's a comment. Thank you. Thanks for sticking in there and doing that. And like, I can't even tell you how much I was looking forward to the iOS 7 jailbreak. And when Evasion came out, I was just so stoked. And it was crazy on Twitter, you know, all that stuff back and forth. But thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Wilson, and I've been following you very closely, along with the rest of the jailbreakers on this since like day one. I remember I was telling him earlier when I got my iPhone 4 and AT&T kind of played me on getting it on the right date. I ended up using Jailbreak Me and jailbroke all their phones in the store. But I really do appreciate like what she said, what you guys are doing. I never buy a device unless the jailbreak's out, so I waited out until like the Evasion 7 was done, and then I bought an iPhone 5S. So keep up the good work, and there's a lot of us out here that do definitely support you guys. That whole controversy, just let it just brush off your shoulders, because that's like a little tick on your mark. You don't need to deal with it. Just ignore all the armchair quarterbacks. So
I would try to. Thank you.
I also want to, thank you and the rest of everybody else that, as a community, it helps get support. And my question would be, since everybody in the world, gets knowledge of this kind of stuff, do you see challenges, with the different, language barriers and things when you put something together like that?
Thank you. What is? Sorry, can you help me on that one?
Yeah. Basically, I guess some people may work in China, some people work in the U.S. So you have different language barriers when you're putting together a project.
Not really language barriers. I mean, okay, I'm not really good at English. Okay, but all the others are. So, and we usually tend to write stuff more than speak. So it's easy to speak to write in English and to have your translator when you need it. So there's no real language barriers.
Anyone else, guys? No? Oh.
I just want to say thank you. I didn't expect to have a jailbreak for my 5S so quickly.
Okay, thank you.
I just wanted to know, like, what jailbreak tweaks do you personally use on your phone?
Oh, that will be a really boring answer, because I don't use any tricks at all. I mean, that's true. I mean, I just jailbreak my phone to do security research on it. I have OpenSSH running, and that's it approximately. So
Surely you're going to get Orky though, right?
I will do. Yeah, of course. I will buy. Okay, like everyone in here. Of course. Come on.
Any more questions, guys? No. Okay.
Thank you.